to win as many seats as possible, if possible, win the election. So every presidential candidate can possibly become the president of the country. And that is why I'll introduce Mark Benschop here as President Mark Benschop. Welcome to
I
Makeup
mean,
Guy
gosh,
Show.
biblically, those are prophetic words. But let me just, apart from saying good morning to your viewers, your large viewership, let me just correct this again, because we've been saying this throughout our campaign, that I am not running for the presidency. Right?
You're not the presidential candidate?
I am not running for the presidency, right? We are running to acquire some seats in Parliament so that we can be the watchdog or the third force, the official third force, on behalf of the ordinary folks in this country. So let's clear that up, that on elections day when they go to vote, they will be voting. Our symbol is the I, but I am not the presidential candidate. I mean, I'm not running for the presidency. However, when we submit our form to GCOM, it is compulsory by law. You have to list who is the presidential candidate. So on that list, I have to put my name. Then we have to have a prime ministerial candidate. But we are not campaigning for the presidency.
Now, you must have noticed me knitting my eyebrow because you're confusing me here now. I know that when a party goes into action for elections purposes, you name your various members of the slate.
Yeah.
The presidential candidate runs for the presidency. The prime ministerial candidate runs for the prime ministerial ship, so to speak. All right, and so why have I gone off course here?
No, you haven't gone off course, Basil. And even if you would have gone off course, there's not much on your head to scratch. But putting that aside, we are contesting for some seats in Parliament. However, if on elections day people decide to vote for the independent party overwhelmingly, it simply means that there is a possibility that I could become the next president of Guyana.
It sounds to me like you're not quite aspiring to be the president of Guyana.
We are taking it a
If
step.
it comes that way,
we
then
are
you take it.
We are
That's-
taking it a step at a time. We want some seats to go into Parliament to fight for the rights of ordinary folks in this country. One step at a time we are taking it. That is why we're asking folks to kindly go out and vote for us, the independent party, on elections day, so that we can have some seats in Parliament to effect those changes on behalf of ordinary people of this country.
Well, that is the important thing, though, that you can get into Parliament. You have been representing the people for a long time, for years.
Thank you.
Outside of Parliament.
You bet.
And you have done reasonably well. I can't give you an A, but I certainly wouldn't give you less than a B.
Okay.
All right? And if you can do that outside of Parliament, one wonders what you can do in Parliament once you get the opportunity to get in there. So it's good to know that you're running for that. But then there's still certain basics that have to be adhered to. And the question obviously is, have you decided on your slate? You are, I have to say it again, the presidential candidate. Who is your running mate? Are you ready to talk about key persons in the party? And most importantly, is the party, even though your campaign period has not really gone into full swing, is the party quite ready for the challenges?
We are prepared for the challenges. We have a lot of folks behind the scenes, some capable, competent individuals. Dexter Todd, attorney at law, he's on board with us. We have scores of other folks. We have individuals who are dealing with women's issues as well, Ms. Diane Madre. We have Ave. We have scores of individuals who are on board with us. In terms of our slate and so forth, we will do that when the time is right. As of now, we are sensitizing the public that we are here. The independent party is here. We are asking people for their votes. We are saying three things we want to focus on in Parliament in terms of keeping the whoever is in government, and we are hoping that, and we want this government, this PPP regime, to be out of office completely. There's no question about that. And so we believe that the independent party will be that third force, will be that third eye on behalf of people. So when we vote in terms of the budget, We want West Rumville to have better roads. We want the people of Region 10, the people of Linden, the people of Ituni, the people of Kokwani, not to be taken advantage of by the international companies who are coming into our country and violating people's human rights, their work rights, and all these things. It must stop. And these are the things that we in the Independent Party will be able to confront in Parliament. In terms of our slate, we will have our people out there. We will put that out when the time is right, because we have nomination day is on April 7th. And those of you who know that I've been fighting for human rights and all sorts of rights in this country, I will be surrounded by people who share that very passion.
Yeah, we have a clear idea of who Mark Benschop is, what Mark Benschop has been doing. We know about your serious concern for the welfare of your fellow Guyanese and so on. And so you've been doing your thing. But it's going one step higher, or taking up the ante, so to speak, now that you have decided to contest the elections. At that level now, what makes you so invigorated? That you'll take that route. You know, being a president of the country is not easy. We know that. It's not just getting there and sitting down. It's then when you really have to show your mettle, prove your mettle. So it's more work. It's harder work. It's more time. What makes you tick in the head that this is what you really want for the people of Guyana?
Well, I believe, and mind you, over the years we see anybody can become president of Guyana, and it's what you do when you get there. And my passion basically is to do stuff for ordinary people, Guyanese in general, to have people have an equal share of that pie. We don't want to see a handful of people getting richer and richer. We don't want to see politicians getting into office and they're living in big mansions, whether at the back of where you live in Plaisance or wherever. We want the ordinary people, the vendors, to have that opportunity to get a store. We want the single mothers to have that opportunity to get a better job, to get their own homes and all these things. And that is why it's important that the Independent Party gets in there. People know that I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about the cause. I'm passionate about empowering people. Over the years, through the Benschop Foundation, and you've hosted me here several times on this very program, that we are there to empower people in general. It doesn't matter of one's ethnicity. And I believe that once given that opportunity, the pie is going to be equally divided throughout this country, where our Amerindian brothers and sisters don't feel left out, where our African brothers, our Indian brothers, our Chinese and Portuguese do not feel left out. All people are asking for is an equal chance, an equal opportunity at everything, so that a single mother can afford to send her child to university, to send her child to high school, and all these things. Our concern is basically for the future of this country. We're getting old, Basil, and we have to continue to fight for the younger generation. A society that is democratic, it is free to speak your mind, it is free to affiliate yourself with whichever political party you so wish. And so all of those things and more, we will, through the Independent Party, be fighting for.
Right. Should you get into Parliament, let's say you get a seat through the Independent Party, do you think that the Mark Benschop, the social activist outside of Parliament, is going to be able to make that transformation as quickly as possible in Parliament? There's a difference between the Mark Benschop as a social activist and the Mark Benschop as a parliamentarian. That's how I see it. Mm-hmm. Is that transformation going to be a smooth, easy one for you, you think?
I want to say to you, Basil, and all of your viewers, that there is always going to be one Mark Benschop. When I go into Parliament, it simply means that I will continue being me. I will continue being who I am, a voice for the voiceless out there. I am not going to change. In fact, what I have said to people, as long as we are elected into Parliament, the Independent Party, our first action, Basil, is to say we are not going to accept any duty-free concession for vehicles. We do not want that. We do not feel that politicians, in fact, I do not feel that politicians or people who are aspiring for offices, whether to become parliamentarians, presidents, or, well, that's a different story. But A lot of times you find that people want to get into public office in order to see what they can grab out of that system. We are going in there not to grab out of the system for ourselves. We are grabbing out of the system to give back to the ordinary people who matters most. And so we do not want any duty-free concession. I'll tell you why. For vehicles, I'm comfortable driving what I drive. And people know me. I am serious about what I'm saying, that we are not going to accept duty-free concession. For the 5 years that 65 parliamentarians are there, do you know it costs taxpayers in this country over $400+ million just to give 65 parliamentarians duty-free concessions for a vehicle? And a lot of them, when they do get the vehicles, guess what they do? They wind their windows up, they put on the AC, and they drive past the very people who they come elections times begging for votes. We do not want that. We want the $400+ million to be placed into something beneficial for this country. More so, we're asking that it be placed to build computer labs throughout Guyana, to be placed in building playgrounds, recreational centers for our young people. It's time we pay attention to that. And politicians should not be grabbing for themselves, not be building big mansions, not be driving 2 or 3 fancy vehicles, whether Mercedes-Benz or whatever, of the sweat of hard-working taxpayers of this country. Let us pay attention to the teachers. Let us pay attention, to the policemen, the civil servants, and so forth. Let us pay attention to the lecturers at the University of Guyana. These are things that we have to do, and ensure that there's enough monies that is being spent in those areas adequately to lift the morals up of those individuals, not us as parliamentarians. And I can promise the people, in looking into their eyes, that as a parliamentarian, I will do as I say. Judge me based on my works over the years in standing up and defending the rights of the people. There are 3 main things that we'll be focusing on while in Parliament: transparency, accountability, and justice for everyone.
Okay, Mark. And finally, let's touch this topic that some people have been shying away from. We're talking about the Courtney Cromie situation. Quickly, your take. Is it political in your view? Tell me what you think.
Political persons who are out there, advocating politically, especially when they are killed, the question of whether it's political is obvious. It is normal. My understanding is that those who are in office, political office, especially those who are at OP, or whether those who are at the Attorney General office, his chambers, they have to be answering that question as to what really transpired. Because the perception in many people's minds out there, including myself, is that it is political in nature, and that the answers that people are looking for, the government, the president of this country, should be providing that answer, because every citizen should be safe. No one should be gunned down because of his or her views. And they oftentimes love to talk about the Burnham's era and the Burnham this. And I agree with Freddie Kissoon. This government has done things that are 10 times worse than what they have accused Burnham of doing. And so Burnham looks like an actual schoolboy compared to this regime, this brutal, this vicious regime that we all have to go on May 11, 2015 and get them out of office by every vote necessary.
Thank you very much, Mark Benschop.
Thank you.
Presidential candidate of the Independent Party. And we'll be hearing more from Mark and his party, because he still has got to tell us, as he has promised, let us know his slate and all of that as we get closer to that.
And before you go quickly, Basil, on behalf of the Independent Party, I would like to say that we are donating $10,000 towards Cromie Wing's funeral or his burial, something for his family, $10,000. And I urge others out there to do the same. Let's come together. Let's work. Let's not make this a political football something. Cromie Wing was killed for his political views. I haven't seen the president of this country gone to Cromie's house to meet with his family. Politicians need to wake up and stop being heartless.
By the way, and we've run out of time, but I want to mention this quickly, that the president, the Home Affairs Minister, the government has condemned the killing and disassociated themselves from that killing.
Putin did the same. in Russia when that opposition figure was assassinated too. Oftentimes you find oppressors would be the ones jumping and say, hey, we didn't do it.
And
Come
they
on.
did the same in Ronald Reagan.
You bet. We've got to read between the lines. And all of us have to be safe. You know, oftentimes people say, Mark, watch your back. This government is a cruel government, and we all have to watch our backs.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Thank you very much out there for being with us. You've listened to the views of Mark Benschop. You earlier listened to the views of Joan Cambridge. It was a day of views today on the Wake Up Guyana show, and you can, think about it and study that as we get down to election.